How to maximize the internal rate of return on a life insurance death benefit. That's what we're going to talk about here today in part 2 of the analysis of the article from kitces.com about life insurance and what you need to know. I will say this is the most important life insurance article you'll ever read. I'm just telling you right now. Once you read this article, not once, not twice, but 3 or 4 times as I have done, you'll get a new appreciation for life insurance, a new understanding for it, and maybe even a way to see how it can work in your favor too as you're thinking about life insurance for sure. This is not a solicitation of life insurance. Don't get me wrong. I do not sell life insurance. That's completely up to you. In fact, I think everyone needs a term, absolutely. But if you have a life insurance policy or you're one of the people that fall in the situation where a permanent life insurance policy could benefit you, wouldn't it make sense to understand how it works? My goodness, for the love of me, I don't know why that'd be such a controversial statement. Not everybody needs permanent life insurance, but for those who do, and there are some, I'm telling you right now, then you got to read this article. And the sad thing is I can almost guarantee your financial advisor has no clue. Absolutely. In fact, I'd be willing to go on a limb and say probably most insurance agents don't either, but I'm not that ready to say that about the insurance agents so much. A good number of the insurance agents I met know their product back and forth for sure. Obviously, when you're an insurance agent, everything out there looks like they need a permanent life insurance, but they know the products, no other way around that. Most financial planners I've seen have no clue how insurance is. They look at it like this, life insurance is evil, buy term and invest the rest. And that's just silly. And so anyway, let's dive right into this. This is not something you necessarily want to ask your financial advisor about unless he or she has a commitment to open-mindedness. All right, that's just all there is to it. So I'd ask, say, what do you think about whole life insurance? Or what do you think about permanent life insurance? And if they just say don't do it, then that's not an open-mindedness. I mean, the question is, what are we trying to solve? What are we trying to accomplish with it? That's the question that needs to be answered. If the answer is I just need life insurance to cover me till I'm 65, then permanent life insurance probably isn't for you. But if the answer is other things, which we talk about here, then that would be something you want to entertain for sure. But if the answer is from your financial advisor, don't touch it, it's evil, then that's silly. All right, so let's dive right into this. This is part 2 now. Matt, don't forget to subscribe, my friends. Subscribe down below so way you can keep educated on what we're going to talk about at the Heritage Wealth Planning YouTube channel because we talk a lot. All right, maximizing the IRR. So remember, IRR is the internal rate of return of an insurance policy's death benefit. Death benefit, also the acronym is DB. So maximizing the IRR on a DB. Good times. On a UL. UL is a universal life. So maximizing the IRR on the DB of a UL. Doesn't get much more exciting than that. It's almost like being back in the military. Sit rep. You know what sit rep means? I'll never forget my squad leader when I first got by this infantry unit. We're doing some training mission at Fort Drum. Running through the woods. The guy says, I need a sit rep ASAP. And I'm like on the radio because I was we called the prick 70 or prick 9. I can't remember the radio. That was the radio guy said, what the hell is that? I don't even know. So I asked my guy Ramirez, he needs a sit rep ASAP. Well, I don't know what any of that means. Situation report as soon as possible. That's awesome. Anyway, all right, that's how young I was, young and stupid. All right, so 3 payment strategies, all right, 3 ways to make premium payments. The flexible premium option of the universal life insurance allows a policy owner to choose how to pay premiums on the policy. The high-level concept is that this type of policy affords the policy owner a number of funding options, i.e. strategies and how they pay the premiums into the policy given the choice. At the most basic level, there are 3 different funding strategies for a flexible premium life insurance, universal life insurance policy. Pay a level premium each year to keep the policy in force to age 100. Now remember, this is under the context they're trying to maximize the internal rate of return on the death benefit. Okay, so remember, that's what we're trying to accomplish here. Pay a level premium each year to keep the policy in force till age 100 when it endows, i.e. when the policy has the death benefit and cash value equal. This results in the client paying more than the cost of insurance in the early years of the policy, so that the account value of the policy accumulates over time and results in a low net amount at risk in the later years. And again, net amount at risk is how much you have a check the insurance company will have to cut out of their own coffers. I got $5 million death benefit, $3 million is my own cash. the insurance company's got to come up with $2 million to make my spouse whole. That way, even though the cost of insurance rate is higher in the later years, the overall charge being deducted from the policy is still low. Remember our formula. Cost of insurance rate times net amount at risk equals cost of insurance charge. By keeping the NAR low in the later years, the policy owner can still keep the cost of insurance charges low, even though the COI rate is increasing. Three things going on there. It's like watts, volts, and amps on electricity. You squeeze one, the other got to change, right? Same thing here. Squeeze cost of insurance rate, cost of insurance charge, and NAR gets all that changes. Just remember that. It's three things going on. This was traditionally how whole life insurance policies worked. And it's typically how the policy is marketed and illustrated by life insurance today. Agents say. Notably, though, beyond the traditional approach, illustrating universal life policies in this manner is also common amongst some agents because commissions are typically 100% of the first year premium paid in the policy, which means the agent is incentivized to have the policy owner make larger payments in the early years. And I knew that, but I never thought about the way he's talking about it here. So given that, well, we'll just keep going. Option number 2, pay a minimal premium just to keep the policy in force each year. This results in the premiums being low in the early years and the cost of insurance rate, the likelihood of you're going to die is low. But because the cost of insurance rate is low and the NAR, the net amount of risk, is high, the cost of insurance charge is still pretty high. But your COI rate gets very expensive in the later years when the cost of insurance rate is high because you're more likely to die. While this results in the risk of the premiums in the later years being very high as cost of insurance rates increase and the NAR is still large, the policy owner may be trying to optimize the time value of money and the fact that the insured has a lower chance of living in the later years in the first place, i.e., if the insured has already passed away by the time the COI rates rise, the policy owner simply paid less into the death benefit, left less into the policy for the same death benefit, maximizing their death benefit IRR. And this is just a simple term concept. If I pay $50 for $1 million term premium and I get hit by a bus, I only pay $50, my wife gets $1 million. The IRR on that death benefit is through the roof. All right, now on the other hand, if I'm paying ultimately $900,000 on my term premiums, and my wife and I get hit by a bus, my wife gets $1 million, the IRR, internal rate of return on that death benefit, is minimal because I put $900,000 in, I only got $1 million back. Conversely, with any kind of life insurance, I put $50 in, I got $1 million back. That's the difference in IRR and death benefit. Number 3 option, pay a hybrid of the two above. This involves paying a level amount of premium to a point in the future and then a minimum premium just to maintain the policy after that. The concept is to determine a risk-reward scenario that is optimal over time. All right, so here we got in the chart, we're showing you 3 different options. And the blue is a level pay premium, almost like a whole life policy, all right? And as you can see, we're paying, off the top of my head, that's $100,000. I think it's $28,000 roughly is what we're paying over time. So we're paying $28,000 over time. On the minimum pay, let's see, minimum pay is green. So we're paying, I don't know, $15,000 or something like that. We'll dive in the numbers here a little bit down the road. And we were paying $15,000 or something like that for the first 10 years. Then we're not paying anything for the next 6 or 7 years. And then, but as you can see, with the minimal or hybrid pay, we're paying a whole lot less in the first 20 years or so. But then when we hit, 87, we're paying over $100,000. So let's just read what the guy says. From the graph above, we can immediately see that the minimum premium is significantly cheaper in the early years, but escalates dramatically in the later years. In fact, the cumulative premiums to age 100 for the level pay to 100 option, dark line, the cumulative premiums in the level pay is $2.9 million. Yeah, so $29,000 a year, as compared to $6.1 million for the minimum funding strategy. So again, we're paying, was that $300,000 in premiums in year 95 if we did the minimum pay strategy. We're only still paying $28,000 in year 95 if we did the level funding. I know you're thinking, well, why would anyone do the minimum pay? Hang in there, my friends. This is where it gets fun. I'm telling you right now, I thought the same thing until I read on. Yeah, so the premiums are $28,200 up here, my friends. So I'm just showing you the chart if you're on the podcast. For the level pay is $28,200 initially. Wait. An interesting point to note is that with a minimum premium strategy, that the minimum premium is a constant. Okay, I'm sorry. So this is $28,200 for the minimum premium, $28,200, and then it drops to zero, and then it starts going up again after about 10, 11 more years. For the hybrid pay, is $28,200, which is lower than the level pay up for about 25 years, and it just jumps up. So essentially, for the hybrid pay, you're paying $28,200 for the first 25 years, and then by the time you hit 83, it goes up to $110,000, and then significantly higher each and every year after that. Since the carrier has essentially required the policy to overpay in the early years, and the universal life is a flexible premium policy, the policy owner can elect to skip the premiums over the next few years to account for the overpayments that they want. So again, going back to the chart, because you've paid more upfront than you really needed to for the minimum pay, you can skip the premiums from, again, that's age 58 to age 65. You don't have to pay anything if you don't want. But then if you do want to keep it active, you're going to have to come up with a lot of money out of the front when you hit about 65 years old to keep it in force. The question for the policy owner, though, is how to evaluate and compare these strategies and how to customize the hybrid approach. When is it beneficial for the policy owner to pay less premiums now at the risk of paying very high premiums later? When is it better for the policy owner to take the safe strategy and just pay a level premium? All right, so again, I just want to share with you something right here. And this is a chart. So you're looking when you're 82 years old, and if you did the lower premium pays on the front end, your premium is going to go to $120,000. But yeah, if you're stayed at, let's just say, I guess, are $50,000 for the level pay. So you're paying significantly more in the level pay in the front end, but then you're going to pay significantly less in the back. So again, you're 82 years old, you're still paying $50,000 in level pay, but you're paying $100,000, $150,000, and up to $300,000 in the minimum pay of this lower pay on the front end. So that's the difference. And I know right now you're saying, why would I pay $6.1 million for a $5 million death benefit when I can pay $2.9 million for the same death benefit? Well, and that's assuming that you live to 100, and that's where it's going to get interesting here. All right. So actuarial present value of premiums, and this is important. Most financial advisors are familiar with the concept of IRR, total rate of return, which value is a stream of cash flows over time. In this context, a chart below shows the internal rates of return for various funding strategies based on the premium commitments over time and what IRR would be produced given the death benefit available at each potential age of death. Not surprisingly, the IRR on a life insurance death benefit is very favorable to those who die within 15 to 20 years, but trail off in later years because you keep paying premiums. So here we got and again, if you're on my podcast, you can't see this, but here we got the death benefit IRR of premium strategy, assuming death at end of year. So we're at 75 years old and we die. The death benefit for a level pay is about 8%. That's a death benefit IRR. So again, that simply means we get $5 million back on whatever it is, $3 million. I have no idea what the premium would be from 55 to 75, but that's what the IRR is. We put in $300,000. Let me turn my phone off there, and we're getting $5 million when we die. The IRR on that is about 8%. However, the death benefit, if you're 75, if you did the minimal funding, is up to 12 and even 15%, depending on what time of minimal funding you did when you're 75 years old. In fact, if you die at 65, the death benefit IRR is 25 for a $5 million, 25% for a $5 million policy if you did the level pay, but it's literally off the charts if you did the minimum pay. And the reason for that is simple. I mean, my goodness, you're getting $5 million of death benefit. You only put in a couple $1,000. That, I mean, you can't, the IRR in that scenario is just literally off the charts. What happens was at 95, the death benefit internal rate of return changes where the max, you get a better death benefit IRR in the level funding than you did on the lower and the front end fundings. And there's a lot going on there, but I just let's keep reading. While the hybrid and pay and minimum pay options essentially overlap, the level pay notably lags behind at each age until the very end at age 44. Note, that while the level pay premium does eventually have a higher IRR, there's only a 24% chance that the insured lives till 94 or longer. So here is when the internal rate of return on the death benefit the level pay finally takes over in terms of a better rate of return on the death benefit than the other two. But there's only a 24% chance you're going to live that long anyway. And that's what needs to be accounted for, which I was not doing. Now, my man Ravij, maybe, by taking this tail risk, the policy owner can achieve much higher expected IRR by choosing the hybrid or minimum pay options. So if you're thinking you're not going to live until you're 94 years old because there's only a 24% chance you're going to anyway, and you want to increase your internal rate of return on your death benefit, you'd be crazy to do the level funded. You should do the minimum pay. And we're going to show even more. The caveat of the comparison above is that not all potential IRRs have the same probability of occurring. The very high IRRs are improbable. You're not likely to die at 65. That's just not likely to happen. Because the odds of death well before life expectancy are not very high, nor are the IRRs in later years very likely because the odds of living that long are not very high either. You're going to die before that most likely. All right. Accordingly, to properly compare strategies is not enough just to compare the IRRs of the strategy. Instead, we need to also account for the fact the insured only has to pay the future life insurance premiums if he or she is still alive. So if you're going to die at 85, why would we want to run an illustration for 100 years old? Now, you have to get the insurance company to be compliant. But for you, you say, look, I'm going to do an IRR based on I'm going to live till I'm 100, so I want to do an IRR at 100 that's going to be beneficial to me, which would be the level of pay. But if you really think you're only going to live to 85, the internal rate of return on your death benefit is twice as high for the minimal and hybrid funding than it would be on the level pay because you're just not likely to live that long. All right, so let's do the case study. In our case example, we are assuming that the insured is a 50-year-old man in great health. According to the actuarial mortality tables, such an insured has a 37-year life expectancy and a 40% of chance of surviving until age 90 or for 90 years, because remember, he's 50 right now. By looking at the premium strategy graph previously discussed, we can see that if the insured chooses to pay the minimum premium each year, the premium of $250,000 will be due if he is still alive to age 90. All right, so do the minimum right here is the green. When he goes up here at age 90, the green he's got, that's going to be right there. $200,000 premium will be due at age 90. But again, there's only a 24% chance he's going to live that long. All right. Therefore, the expected value, now here's where it gets exciting. I love this stuff. Therefore, the expected value of the $250,000 payment at age 90 is the amount of payment multiplied by the chance that the insured is still alive at that time, which equals $100,000 because there's only a 40% chance he's still going to be alive. So we take 40% times the $250,000 premium payment, and the premium payment, the expected value is $100,000. It's not $250,000 because only 40% of the population survives that long. The next step is to discount that $100,000 payment at age 90 by a discount factor to reflect the time value of money. When choosing a discount rate, it is important to choose a discount rate that reflects not necessarily the returns of the insurance policy itself, but the opportunity cost of the investment, i.e., what the investor would have done with the dollars if they have not been in a life insurance policy. In this case, we're going to assume a discount rate of 5% to reflect the underlying investment risk. Even for a conservative investor, it's important to consider not just current interest rates, but also tiny levels of default risk, blah, blah, blah. And in the table below, we can see the actuarial present value of various premiums payments owed in the future. The policy owner chooses the minimum payment strategy. Man, this is, all right, so remember, actual present value premium payments under minimum premium strategy. So look at this. At age 41, we have a $250,000 premium is what it's going to be. We're going to have to pay $250,000 at age 90, I should say, when 41 years in the policy. $250,000 is our premium. But because there's only a 40% chance that we're going to survive that long, when you factor in the chance of survival is only 100% premium, $100,000 premium. But if we use a 5% discount rate, that premium is only $14,205. That's amazing. We're in the first year. We have a 100% chance of survival. The premium is $28,200. Our expected premiums is $28,200. We have a 100% chance of survival. We don't have any discount rate because the first year. Our actuarial present value of premiums due in year 1 is $28,200. In year 21, we have a 70% chance, a 94% chance to survive. Our premiums will be $41,000 in year 21. But we expected premiums to paid at that point because only set a 94% chance that people are going to live. That means 6% of the people will no longer be paying the premiums. That means and then we use a 5% discount value. That means the actual cost on a $41,000 premium is only $14,525, an actuarial present value terminology. So again, but the big issue is here, if you do live, you're sitting there, I don't want to pay $250,000 when I'm 90 years old. The likelihood of you having to do that is nil. And then when you factor in your discount rate of 5%, it's only $14,000. That's it. That's the amount of money we can earn theoretically outside not to have to pay in that premium. So if we put $14,000 in an account that's growing at 5%, that gives us a 40% chance survival rate, that'll be equivalent to $250,000. Crazy. See, even though the scheduled premiums get larger as the insured ages, the actuarial present value of the premiums at a 5% discount rate on those ever larger premiums gets smaller due to the much lower chance of surviving to that point. So again, how much do I need to put in an account today to pay for that $250,000 premium, given a 5% discount rate and given the fact that only 40% of the people are going to survive? And the answer is $14,250. And you can just take your trusty old calculator and figure that out. It's just amazing. I never thought about it like that. So, man, my man Ravij. What would be readily apparent from the above table is how small the actuarial present value of the premium payments are. Even though these later premiums are quite large, when the probability of survival and the time value of money discount is taken into consideration, the actuarial present value of these premiums in terms of today's money is actually smaller than the first year premium payment over the policy. That is freaking rocket science. Again, I just got to stress this. You put $14,000 in an account at 5% interest, you're going to have $100,000 in 41 years. Why do I need $100,000? Because the actuarial likelihood of me surviving at 40 beyond 90 is only 40%. That means, given all things being equal, I only need $100,000. I don't need $250,000 because only 60% of the people are going to die. Assuming I'm one of them, the likelihood is that I'll only need $100,000, which means I only need $14,000 today. It's just crazy. Oh, man, I love it. For each of these three premium strategies, level pay, minimum pay, and hybrid, we can use this actuarial present value analysis to evaluate every premium payment in each category. And by adding up the actuarial present values of all premium payments in a given strategy, we can compare the total present value, actuarial present values of all premiums in one strategy to that of the other. And here we go. Thus, by using each year's survival and death probabilities in the corresponding premium and death benefit schedule, and the 5% net time value money, the discount rate, we can do an IRR calculation. The table below summarizes the present value of an expected death benefit IRR of each strategy. So level pay to age 100, actuarial present value of premiums going forward is almost $1 million, which means my expected death benefit IRR is 4.61. Minimum payment. Actuarial present value of premiums going forward is $637,000. So I pay essentially under all these numbers $637,000. I get $5 million back at my death, which my expected death benefit IRR is 9.06%. Don't forget that's tax free too, my friends. And when you see stuff like that, I don't see how we can't start thinking more about life insurance. I just don't. I mean, if this is on the death benefit, so if we're trying to leave we're just trying to do something. It gets me just fantastic. I love, because you're not going to get a 9.06% death benefit on much anything else. You're just not. Could you get more on investments? Well, it depends. After taxes and fees, probably not. And then the volatility of it. And then in fact, if it's an IRA, So Man, I love it. As might be expected, the level pay to 100 premium strategy has the highest actual or present value premiums and is the most expensive. And as a result, has the lowest expected death benefit. Man, I just, all right. So that we're going to take a break there. All right. So I want to read this. A policy owner who chooses the minimum premium strategy can expect to save over $360,000 in today's dollars on premiums versus a policy owner who chooses the level premium to age 100 strategy that's shown to him by the insurance agent. And notably, given the tax-free nature of life insurance, these are effectively after-tax returns, which would just increase the tax expected rate of return. But I do like the minimum dollars versus versus the level premium to age 100 strategy that's shown to him by the insurance agent, because the insurance agent gets paid the first year premiums, make the first year premiums higher, the insurance agents get paid more. So that's what I love about this guy, my man Rajiv, is he's not shying away from the fact that commissions eat up a lot of your cash value, which we'll talk about next time. Love it. Minimum premium universal life strategies may maximize death benefit IRRs. Man. So next time, maximizing the IRR of the cash surrender value. So we talked about this is the death benefit. Now we're going to talk about cash surrender value. And everything's upside down, man. It's like watts, volts, and amps. I'm just telling you, one goes down, the other goes up. It has to. And the same thing is going to happen here. So stay tuned. Don't forget to subscribe. And we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.